Chelsea Speaker from Handelsblatt Global Edition. It's an invention that has made life easier for people for over 4,000 years, the key. Now a Berlin startup wants to make the key, as we know it, unnecessary. The Berlin startup Kiwiki has developed a system for hands-free, keyless entry into buildings.
The traditional key has many limitations in real life. So first of all, if you lose your key, you need to change the lock. If you want to grant access to another person, you have to hand them a physical key. So that's very old-fashioned, very traditional. That's why we think there's time for a change.
How does it work? The door has a mechanism connected to a sensor that can be carried in your pocket or bag. When you are within 3 meters or around 10 feet of the door, it automatically unlocks.
We mainly have 3 customer groups. So first of all, there are the service providers like the postal operators and garbage removal companies that need to have access to many doors every day on their tours. The second customer group are the building owners, and they have their service providers. And thirdly, there are the residents.
One of the biggest topics, of course, is the smart home development. A lot of the startups develop hardware. Hardware products are kind of tricky. You really have to produce it, you have to ship it, you have to finance inventory, you have to install it. It maybe needs to be certified to local standards. So a lot of things can go wrong with hardware products. But Germany has a lot of history in building physical products, so the skills are there. Also the industry is there.
The sensors for the Kiwi system are produced in Berlin. So far, the system is being used in 10 German cities and in more than 2,000 houses across the country.
It was difficult for us to take the decision that we want to develop our own hardware. Many people told us, oh, don't do it. It's very difficult, very expensive, and you will lose so much money. So that was a difficult decision to take.
Kiwi.ki has an app enabling the user to remotely open doors. However convenient the system may be, it does raise the question of data security.
When you explore new digital ideas, a lot of the hurdles that are being put up, specifically in large companies, are to say, guys, we shouldn't go there because we will have privacy issues, we have data protection issues, this will not work. And I always encourage companies to say, don't start killing a good idea because you believe you will not solve the data protection questions behind it.
We have a patent pending on the cryptography of how the data is encrypted in our system. What that means is that we never actually know who is using our system when. So we protect the privacy of the user. Kiwi actually is the 4th idea I personally pursue in my life. 3 before were not that successful. So personally, I see failure as a growth opportunity. I think you learn a lot from it and it makes you stronger and gives you new ideas. But in Germany, failing is a problem and it's seen as a weakness actually. But I think we can learn a lot there from other cultures, for example, the Americans.
If you have a culture of innovation, if you have many startups, so it's just the rules of the crowd. Out of so many, some of them will become successful, some of them will be sold, some of them will go public, and then it will attract more and more investors from outside of the country to come in. It's new for Germany and it's great, but the same phenomenon happened in the Silicon Valley probably 30 or more years ago.
In Berlin, a lot of young companies like Kiwiki start out in co-working spaces. One of them, called The Factory, is especially well known. Up to 100 companies have their place of business here.
It's not only in the factory, but also around the factory that startups assemble, and there are all these parties and networking events, and that creates always something new and exciting.
The Berlin tech scene is used to working with very, very little resources, and if you only have very limited resources, you have to help each other, right? And I think there's a pretty strong culture of networking, of helping each other, of reaching out to others, asking for advice. So take advantage of that, and you'll be surprised how much you can get out of that.
Udo Schloemer, founder of The Factory, knows about the gold rush vibe in the capital.
Berlin in 10 years is the Silicon Valley of Europe because a lot of people from everywhere in the world come to work here and build their own business, start their own startup. Everybody between 20 and 30 years wants to live in Berlin the next 10 years.
ZIRRA is a research and rating service for investors based in Tel Aviv. It provides tools that help investors assess the quality and potential of funding private companies. We asked them to give us their analysis of Kiwiki.
The ZIRRA rating system grants Kiwiki a score of 7.9 out of 10, which is very high for a company at that particular stage. We see very good execution on Kiwiki's behalf. Their product is getting great reviews, they're putting together great partnerships, and they're working at a market which is currently enjoying a very positive sentiment. They developed a proprietary technology, which is something that will help them protect the market, but we haven't seen enough evidence to see how much the company is actually going to scale and get accepted as a widely used solution. Once they get that nailed, I think the road to success is pretty well paved. The main risk for Kiwiki is hackers actually hacking into their solution and therefore creating the impression that the security of the solution is compromised. Obviously, if that happens, then they will need to make up for a lot of reputation loss.